What is up, everybody? Arts and Crofts here again, bringing you another GOAT format feature match. If this is your first time watching, this is the series where I bring you daily GOAT format Yu-Gi-Oh content in the form of high-rated Dueling Book ladder replays. Today we've got Eli T versus Where's Blood. At the time this match was played, as always, these players were in the top 200 rated spots on the Dueling Book ladder. Let's jump into it. First thing I notice, Where's Blood is on a 41 card deck, not something you see every day in GOAT format. Generally symbolizes some sort of combo deck, maybe, where you're playing around with ratios. He's going to start out first, lead with a Thunder Dragon. So going to get that immediate card advantage. Looking to cash those in, of course. Just going to set a monster pass, though, and Eli will have that one face-down monster to deal with. They also open Thunder Dragon. Both players loading up their hands. Got Thunder Dragon into Pot of Greed, so even more cards here for Eli to work with. We're going to set a monster, set a couple pass. Interesting to see if any of these back rows are a way to deal with a set monster, something like a Raigeki Break perhaps. But there's nothing you really need to answer too much here if you're Eli, because, obviously the biggest threat in terms of set monsters is usually like a Magician of Faith with a power spell engrave, and there's nothing to worry about too much from that perspective. So you can probably afford to be a little bit more patient here with your set removal if you're Eli. We are going to get the Raigeki Break anyway, though, and we have the Sinister Serpent to discard for it, so it's pretty much free. It's going to hit the set. Is it something real? It was a Sinister Serpent. So Where's Blood baiting out some interaction here, winning that exchange even though they're down a card from the pot. They end up plussing from this, evening up the card advantage, because they'll just be able to recur their Serpent here right now in the standby phase. And now Eli probably doesn't have any sort of better way to deal with set monsters, because generally you would like knock or something first if you had both knock and Raigeki Break. So if you did have a powerful set in hand, like a Gravekeeper Spy or a Faith plus power spell, you're pretty confident that it'll be able to get through here if you're Where's Blood. They're going to go for set monster, set back row. So if you're Eli, you got to be a little bit worried that this set monster is something real. Or perhaps he's just baiting in with the Sinister Serpent. We'll see. Eli's going to draw for turn. Get back their Serpent. Then we're going to get Jar of Greed in the main phase one. Potentially dig for a real answer to the set. Going to flip to Koichi, get to see another card, so really digging deep so far here this game, thinning the deck a lot. And they find the Nobleman of Crossout that they presumably were digging for. And they do hit the Serpent there. Okay, so interesting play here from Where's Blood. Maybe they didn't have another set monster, like a real flip monster, and they end up putting their Serpent on the field again, and it gets knocked, which is not great. Pretty good value for the knock here. And now that's one less card your opponent can essentially bluff you with later, if they go and set monsters. Now Dekoichi's going to go get in for 14, and pressure advantage here for Eli. They're going to add another set monster to the board, and a back row, and Where's Blood, a little bit behind here. Going to need to make some plays to catch up. They've got their own Nobleman of Crossout on the new set, which was a second Dekoichi. Both players are going to banish the rest of theirs. So Eli, you can see, are on the 3. That Dekoichi should definitely be banished, right? Otherwise, they would have Chaos on. Hopefully, one of the players catches that. They're just going to go ahead, set a monster pass. Interesting. Okay, so Eli draws for turn. We're going to main phase 1 Book of Moon on the Dekoichi, just to dig for another card here. Flip it up, draw another one. They grab Breaker, which is pretty good into set cards, of course. Pop the set. It was Torrential Tribute, though, so they're going to be able to wipe the board. So let's see what the set monster that they popped out. It was one of their own Dekoichis. Okay, interesting. So you basically traded 2 full cards for 2 kind of like half cards, right? A Breakerless. Oh, well, I guess when you activate Torrential Breaker is kind of a full card at that point. But kind of a negative trade here for Where's Blood. trading 2 full cards for Breaker, and then I've already face up to Koichi. So, yes, it, stems the pressure here from Eli, but you're probably pretty happy with that trade if you're Eli anyway. Eli's just going to set a couple back row pass, having already used their normal summon on the Breaker this turn. Whereas Blood's going to draw for turn, set a monster pass. Eli's going to go standby phase Jar of Greed. They've seen so many cards in their deck so far this game. Presumably this is just like a pretty standard Chaos Turbo list, and it's doing what it's built to do. Churn through the deck, find all the really good cards, and then probably slam a Chaos Monster at some point. So they're going to set a monster, go for Chaos Sorcerer, which can't really deal with set monsters too well, except for just beating over them. We're going to Raigeki break the set. And hits a Magician of Faith with a Knock Engrave, so pretty good value there. Once again, discarding that Serpent that we knew about to make it essentially just a free 1-for-1. And now Sork can start getting in, applying some pressure. Hit for 23. And this is a real clock. Eli getting a little bit aggressive here. Knowing that they have a little bit of advantage in terms of tempo and forcing the opponent into some suboptimal trades here. So trying to press that advantage home. And from what I can tell, both players are still sitting on double Thunder Dragon in hand. Neither player has been able to really cash those in. Perhaps that'll be a major turning point in the match, though, if someone's able to find like a Graceful Charity or something like that to take full advantage of them. Whereas Blood draws for turn. You got the Sork to deal with. You have a Sork of your own. Now, reminder, one of these Koichis should already be banished, so I hope the other Dark doesn't end up mattering. But we'll see. Either way, this is fine, because one of the Koichis should have hit the grave. Sork is going to banish Sork. And now you see, Eli made the aggressive play to hit in for 23 with the Sork, but then, you didn't actually get any card advantage from playing it. So unless you have even more offense to kind of back this up, you did just kind of go neg for 2,300 damage, which, is that worth it? We'll have to see. Eli draws for turn. We get Raigeki break in the draw phase. Discard one of the Thunder Dragons, so someone getting a little bit of value from that. The Sinister Serpent from before, not available to Where's Blood because it got hit by Knock earlier. But this set is going to get hit, and it was a Gravekeeper Spy. So that'll hit the grave. If you're Eli, you're hoping that you're running 3, probably, because otherwise the remaining one in your deck is pretty useless. But that'll stifle at least that play from Eli this turn. They're just going to have to set a monster pass, holding on to double Thunder Dragon still, trying to cash those in, but not finding any way to do so just yet. Interesting that they left the Serpent in grave as well, considering you were already at 4 cards and there's no back row. Probably should just grab the Serpent, because then especially, there's a lot of value in just setting a monster here, and your opponent might think it's just Serpent, right? But now that it's engraved, they know for sure it's probably something real, or maybe a Sangan. Where's Blood here, though? Able to get to their turn with their Sork untouched. They're going to go normal summon Spirit Reaper. Very interesting card. Don't see that every day in these turbo lists. But if Sork is able to beat over the set monster, Reaper can connect and start doing some damage. So it is another Spy. Eli, are you running the third? Yes, you are. Okay, so the Raigeki break hitting the Spy wasn't too big a deal. So you were able to get a full Spy resolution later. And importantly, this does wall out the Spirit Reaper for the turn, although next turn, the Spy will likely be banished by the Sorcerer. Either way, Eli makes it to their turn without any of their cards getting affected. They have no back row to deal with, so if you do have an out to the Sorcerer, it's pretty safe to just play it now. Now they re-grab the Serpent. Probably should have done that last turn. Gonna set a couple pass and not even bother setting that Serpent. Maybe they have a Raigeki break or something in hand. Another discard trap. Most decks don't main 3 discard traps, but you definitely could. And perhaps they have a way to deal with this Sorcerer before they're able to get to main phase 1 and banish their Spy. That's the only thing in the moment keeping the Spirit Reaper at bay. Just gonna go straight to main phase 1. Spy gets banished. Change it to defense mode to play around Mirror Force. Makes sense. Reaper's gonna get in for 300 and rip out a card. It is one of those Thunder Dragons, so T-Drag was activated quite a long time ago here for Eli, and they never really found any use for them. Part of that is because they have Sinister Serpent in hand, right? So you don't necessarily need to use the Thunder Dragons as discard fodder for your Raigeki breaks. But probably wishing that they had found some use for these Thunder Dragons at some point. At least they're protecting potentially... Well, we know the hand is double Thunder Dragon Serpent, so they're not even really protecting against too much, I guess. But either way, Reaper's going to start eating away at the hand, whereas Blood can add some back row, and we've got normal summon Tsukiyomi in main phase 2, which is interesting. Plays into Torrential Tribute, which is something to worry about. Not every Chaos Turbo deck main decks that anymore. But Tsukiyomi's going to flip down the Reaper, I guess, to protect against perhaps something like a Snatch Steal, but that you probably Snatch Steal the Sork. Kind of an interesting play there. In phase, we're going to get MST on the newly added set. It's going to hit a Jar Greed. So just making, clearing out the back row, making sure there's no funny business if you're going to go for a play this turn. Eli's just going to set a monster, set a back row pass. So you know this set monster has to be Serpent because the card in hand is Thunder Dragon. And they just drew whatever back row that was. But whatever back row it is could be pretty valuable. We'll see how Were's Blood chooses to approach the situation. They draw into Graceful Charity, and that one remaining T-Dragon hand is going to be able to get cashed in. They discard Thunder Dragon and then a dead Trapped Dust Shoot, which makes total sense. We're going to turn Sork to attack mode, attack the known Serpent, set another back row, or set another monster, excuse me, pass, and just applying tons of pressure. You're up a bunch of cards here if you're Were's Blood. Eli definitely on the back foot without really a lot of action. So get to recur that Serpent. That'll at least protect their life points a decent amount. Now this other set monster, or no, we know that's Spirit Reaper. Never mind. Interesting that they chose to keep the Spirit Reaper face down and not try to attack to just deal with whatever's in the hand. Because I think we know that this back row isn't Mirror Force, probably. I guess it could be. Yeah, I guess playing around Mirror Force does kind of make sense there. That seems to be what Wereblood was going for. Either way, Eli, though, in phase 1, they found the Tribe-infecting Virus with the Sinister Serpent hand. In hand, it's really nice. Basically, free way to deal with this Chaos Sorcerer. But we're going to go and attack the set monster first. I guess the idea is, if it's a spy, you can hit the spy, force out another spy, and then get to kill 3 monsters in phase 2 just by declaring Spellcaster, right? Because spy is a Spellcaster. The risk here is if the set is Night Assailant, then it's just going to Man-Eater bug your tribe and it'll die before you can deal with the Sork. But I think normally Chaos Turbo decks that runs the Spirit Reaper like we know about, generally that's what replaces the Night Assailant, right? So it's rare to see decks run Reaper and Assailant. So you can make the educated guess here that this is probably something you don't have to worry about when you're attacking here. And it is the spy, so rewarded here. Gonna force out another one. And then main phase 2, you can just discard that Serpent and blow up all of the sorcerers. And just like that, Eli's right back in it. Very well played. Were's Blood, gonna draw for turn. We did know about the Tsukiyomi in hand, of course. Which will be able to beat over the tribe, even though, did just get a ton of value by clearing out the board. Pretty crazy if Eli has an out for this Suk as well. Mirror Force or something. It is a Book of Moon, so we're going to Book of Moon the Tsukiyomi to keep it on the field, and then Tribe can obviously beat over it next turn. 1600 attack to 1400 defense. And no back row, so this is just going to be able to happen, and Eli doesn't even need to think about it. Get to grab that Serpent again. Put summon Tribe. Tribe will kill Tsukiyomi, so a delayed 1-for-1 book trading for Suk. It's going to flip the Tribe back face down, though, with its effect. So it is a little bit more vulnerable, considering it just has the 1000 defense. So it could get beaten over by normal summon Decoy Chi or normal summon Spy or something. Well, they don't have any Dokochis left, but, you know. Then we're just going to set a monster pass. We still know there's the one Thunder Dragon in hand. This could be real, or it could be the Serpent. Whereas what's going to have to make that call if they have an answer for it. Draw Upstart Goblin for turn. Into pot. They're digging for some good stuff. Into Upstart again. Sheesh. Into Tribe Infecting Virus. Kill the Tribe. No back row here. So this back row has been tested a bunch and never really got used. I wonder if it's like pro set heavy or something. I'm going to set one pass. And now, Eli, if this is a real set that you have here, like a Magician of Faith or something, that could be really good. There's a good chance that it's just kind of a Sinister Serpent. Yeah, and now if you don't flip this one up, you can be very confident if you're Were's Blood that the first set was Sinister. So now what's the second set is the question. Were's Blood's just going to go ahead and attack it. It is Magician of Faith. What do you grab here? Probably Pot of Greed, right? Just kind of the best overall card in there. You could grab Knock, but whatever. You don't really care about knocking the Spirit Reaper, I feel like. So Faith is going to re-grab Pot. Were's Blood will add another set monster. Add a back row pass. Eli draws for turn. It was pro set heavy, so Were's Blood, I mean, it really couldn't have been much else, I feel like. So if you set actual chainables into this, or non-chainables into this, you probably should have seen that coming. We'll see though. One of them is Jar of Greed though, so it's just a 1-for-1. It hits ring and clears out the back row, so now Eli can make some plays if they want. They can use that pot. So smartly using the heavy first, in case there's like Solemn Set or anything. Or even like a Trap Dust Shoot. That was held. That's unlikely, but you know, they're at least on Trap Dust Shoot. Either way, pot's going to resolve. Nice full grip of cards here for Eli. And they're going to go for another Sork. Sork Banish Tribe. Set a monster, flip up. Ah, so it wasn't Serpent. Serpent's still in hand, but it was a fake set in the form of Sangan. But now Sangan can maybe start getting in for potentially some damage, or just start clearing things out. He's going to attack Magician of Faith. Which there's, you know, tons of good stuff in here. Depending on the hand, you're, you know, basically picking between Pot or Graceful here. If you're Were's Blood, they're going to go for the Pot. Makes sense. Both Thunder Dragons are gone, so you can't really cash those in for anything. And if you don't have... Yeah, we know Serpent's gone as well. So you don't really have any good discard outlets left in your deck for Graceful unless you've, you know, are sitting on some potentially dead Trap Dust Shoots. But Eli, with all the draw power they just got, they actually kind of drew themselves back into Trap Dust Shoot range. So maybe if you're Were's Blood, you actually want to hold on to those. Either way, Were's Blood, nice 6-card hand. Gonna play that pot that they drew. Gonna go into Snatch Steal, pretty good way to deal with Chaos Sorcerer. That's gonna banish the Sangan. And then we know about the Spirit Reaper. Snatch is nice, just like Minecons and stuff. It can clear the way for some of these, you know, battle effect monsters to get their attacks in. Guys like Kaiku, Spirit Reaper, Dawn's Elude, things like that. Reaper's going to connect. No, we've got Mirror Force. Ah, so Eli, holding that for a very, very long time. Were's Blood decided to play around it for a while, but then decided it was just time to go for it, which... Actually, this was a new set, so never mind. So they must have... Eli must have drawn Mirror Force sometime recently. But to be fair, Were's Blood was playing around it in the past. It ended up being pro set heavy. Now that they knew that the heavy was gone, they decided now is the time to play into Mirror Force. So that could be an interesting choice. Now it's just a Snatch Steal monster getting Mirror Forced. So it's not the end of the world, because there's a lot of ways for them to just deal with the Snatch Steal and get their Sork back. So it's not like a super backbreaking Mirror Force here, but definitely good use of the card. Alleviates some pressure. But Were's Blood still is up a good amount of cards here, so you're probably decently okay with this, making the risk that it was Mirror Force. And we're going to set a monster, set a bunch of stuff past Heavy Storm out of the way so you can set back row with impunity. In Eli, you've got a lot of stuff here. We see Dust Shoot. That was pretty much expected. Their hand is the known Serpent, the known Thunder Dragon, Graceful, and BLS. So this is actually a very good hand. I presume they just top decked Graceful. Yeah, kind of have to send back the BLS. It is live, of course. But they're just going to be able to get to fire off a really, really valuable Graceful, plussing with the Sinister, and then cashing in that last remaining Thunder Dragon. So Eli, they got stuck with these Thunder Dragons in hand basically all game. One got hit by Spirit Reaper. But they've been able to hold on, and finally they're rewarded by the top deck Graceful Charity. So doing a good job playing with kind of an awkward hand, I would say. Yeah, BLS is going to get spun away. We're going to get the Graceful, though, but we have Solemn Judgment to protect against it. Wow, okay. So that's, Where's Blood in a vacuum would have had a decision between, okay, do I just let them keep BLS, or do I give them a really good Graceful? But if you have the Solemn for the Graceful, then might as well just send back the BLS. Then Eli's just going to have to pass, or set the Sinister pass. Where's Blood? Draw Sangan for turn. Clear out the set monster, sure. Just going to be able to keep recurring the Sinister, of course. Set it. Set is probably the Serpent pass. Where's Blood? Okay, we've got... Interesting. So we're going to go for Night Assailant, which... kind of a waste of an effect. I mean, it allows you to push in some damage if it is the Sinister. But makes the call that it wasn't the Sinister. Makes the read. Ooh, very, very good call there. Reading that you're not just going to continue to set the Sinister here. You're going to try and set something real. And they hit the Magician of Faith. So tons of value for this Held Night Assailant. We got Normal Summon Spy. Last one in the deck. And now we can start getting in for some damage. Kind of a ragtag group of offensive monsters, right? But it is 2,400 damage turn. That ain't too bad. And now they're going to put a serious clock here on Eli when he's down a bunch of cards. It's funny how Turbo can just sometimes end up, you're obviously playing some crazy powerful cards in the deck. You got Sork, you got BLS, etc., etc. But a lot of the times, especially in the mirror, you end up with just attacking for game with like random kind of leftover monsters after everything else has been traded. Eli's going to go T-set pass. Likely the Serpent. Still have that Thunder Dragon in hand. We're going to get end phase Raigeki Break. Discard a card destruction, which is, kind of weird to see that main... I mean, some people main deck this in Turbo still. But it's pretty useless in this scenario, right? Because, your opponent has Sinister and a dead Thunder Dragon in hand. So pitching it for Raigeki Break to blow up this back row and keep the pressure on, I think makes sense. And they hit a bluff set knock, but good to know that both knocks are gone if you're Where's Blood, of course. And now with the known Sinister set, just going to clear it out of the way with the Sangan, get in for 14, or no, just 12. Not going to attack with the Night Assailant. It's 200 damage, I think that's fine. But the Spy is going to continue to apply pressure. Still, this Spy not permanently dealt with here. Upstart here for Eli to try and dig for some more action. Set a monster pass. And now you do have to worry a little bit about if your Where's Blood deck out, potentially. Because your clock isn't super duper strong with just this stuff on the field and the Serpent walling out. So you do have to push it a little bit. You don't have all day to just sit back and deal 12 a turn, probably. Okay, top deck BLS is a great way to do that, though. Unless the set is like Night Assailant, you can just probably attack for game this turn. And they're going to attack. It's Serpent, yeah, so then you can use BLS's effect, attack twice in a row. Get in for 3k, and then deal another 22. So you're not dead just yet if you're Eli. But lethal is on board. The BLS has been summoned. And there's probably not much you can do here. We're going to recur the Serpent. Let's see what we got. Snatch Steal on BLS is pretty good, though. This is game if you can just attack over Sangan and Spy. we're just going to go for it. We got the Mirror Force to deal with it. Okay. And that might just be GG. We'll see if they have any defensive stuff. T-set pass. You know, that's the Serpent. Even though I moused over it, it had to be anyway. Still this Thunder Dragon in hand, man. You can see the kind of the dark side of Thunder Dragon here, right? It just wasted space in their hand all game, turned on the opponent's like trap dust shoots and stuff like that. Never ever able to cash it in, you know, Solemn and Graceful Charity. Ended up being a pretty good play here for Were's Blood. Heavy Storm on the set, and yeah, that'll just clear out the way, and Were's Blood takes game one. So a lot of back and forth there, really close here in this Turbo Mirror. Were's Blood's able to inch it out after kind of grinding away. With only 4 cards left in deck, they were able to find the BLS to push the issue and then, you know, seal it with kind of weenie beatdown from Sangan, a Lone Spy. Love to see it. Game 2, though, Eli presumably going to be going first. They're going to lead out with Thunder Dragon, so hopefully for them, they're going to have better luck with utilizing these Thunder Dragons this game. I'm just going to start out with set a monster, set a couple pass. So those Thunder Dragons still kind of rotting in hand. No Dust Shoot, so Were's Blood makes to main phase 1. Get hit with a Nobleman of Crossout on the Tribe Infecting Virus. Very interesting. So a bluff set monster here from Eli, potentially clearing the way for more of a high-value card in the matchup like Spy or Dekoichi. Were's Blood just going to go on the offensive right off the bat with a Breaker. I feel like normally you'd probably want to summon Breaker before Knock, right? In case like one of the sets is Torrential, Eli might not want to use it to kill their own monster. But now they can just Torrential for free, and that's just like one potential example of why this sequencing is a little bit worse. So just going to be Book of Moon, though, flipping the Breaker face down. And then they've got their own Thunder Dragon here. So Were's Blood last game, you know, perhaps the deciding factor was who was able to cash in their Thunder Dragons better. Were's Blood being able to resolve a Graceful Charity at a certain point where, as we saw, Eli just having them stuck in hand. So we'll see if he has a way to do that this time. No, just going to pass with just a set Breaker on board. No back row to protect it, so decent chance that it'll just end up getting beaten over. Not the end of the world because it did trade 1-for-1 with the book in that scenario. But Breaker, obviously a power card in the format. You're usually banking on it to do a little bit more than just trading 1-for-1. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to set a back row. Normal summon Sinister Serpent. No, okay, so that was a misclick. Set a monster pass. Is it Sinister? Is this just a bait, I wonder? It's like, oh, sorry, I meant to set Sinister, but actually I'm setting a real thing. It could be kind of funny. But you do have to remember Eli did bluff set something turn 1. So if you're Were's Blood, you do have to think that they're probably going to set something real. There's nothing crazy to grab with Faith yet. But, you know, resolving Dekoichis or Spies in the Turbo Mirror is really strong generally. Were's Blood draws for turn. Breaker was able to survive. Gets flip summoned. Gonna attack the set monster, which was the Sinister. Okay. Just gonna add a set monster pass. Still no back row here from Were's Blood, so a little bit exposed, but we'll see if Eli can punish. Got Jar of Greed to continue to dig for stuff. Gonna set a back row pass, not even bothering to set the Sinister Serpent. Worried about Faith into Knock, probably. I think that makes sense. Or maybe if you have like a Raigeki Breakers or something set to deal with this monster, you would just rather have the Sinister in hand to use it for free. Go straight to battle phase, though. Breaker will start applying some pressure, getting for 16. Set a back row pass here for Were's Blood. It's going to get end phase MST'd. It's a Sakuretsu Armor. Interesting. Not normally a card you see sideboarded into Chaos Turbo Mirrors. Generally, the Saku's in there for stuff like Warrior and other aggro decks. But if you're anticipating stuff like Haiku to come in, I guess it could make sense. But generally not what you see. Either way, it's going to get hit with MST. And Eli will have another turn of a clear back row to kind of deal with some of these monsters. Now, notably, the set monster did not flip up, so you got to think it's probably not something super real. Or maybe it is Faith for knock, but you just want to hold it until your opponent sets a monster, perhaps. Eli's going to fire off a Pot of Greed. Got a breaker of their own. Keep the token on it for 19 so it can clear out the breaker and deal a little bit of damage. And now dissuade your opponent from setting any further back row. At least that's unchainable. And then we're also in the battle phase going to get Raigeki Break, discarding the Serpent to pop the set, which was a bluff set Tsukuyomi. Really interesting players. Both players this round, I guess, trying to one-up each other with how weird of a card they could set. But potentially just trying to pave the way for, like I always say, Aspire to Koichi or something. Now, if you're Were's Blood, you're pretty certain they don't have anything real to deal with set monsters if they're using Raigeki Break on it. It's generally one of the lower priority answers to set monsters because it's just so versatile. You can use it to out other things, whereas something like a knock can, of course, only be used on set monsters. So Eli's going to set a back row pass. Got this full power breaker here bearing down on Were's Blood. We're going to get Trap Dust Shoot here in the draw phase. So you're going to get to see a hand, the Double Thunder Dragon. I don't think we saw the Sinister yet, but now we know about it. We see a live Sork and a Spirit Reaper. So what are we worried about this turn if you're Eli? And Eli's hand desperately wants to get a Dark Monster into the grave, which is interesting. And the Sork, of course, represents a way of removing your only dark monster besides the Sork that's stuck in hand. But you still also have to worry about Snatch, the Breaker, Summon Reaper, Reaper rip something out. That could actually be good for you, though, if they hit the Sorcerer, and if they hit a Thunder Dragon, you don't really care. So you're probably more worried about the Sorcerer banishing your Dark. So you probably send back the Sorcerer, is my thought. Yeah, sends back the Sorcerer. Go ahead and rehide those hands. And then the expected play of Snatch the Breaker, normal summon, Spirit Reaper is going to come through. And now Eli, do you win the roll? The Sork gets hit. Nice. So you do get Chaos turned on. So this ended up working probably best case scenario for you. And now next turn you can go summon Sorcerer, banish the Reaper probably. Either way, the Breaker's going to hit in for 19 though. So you are down to almost about half-life. Got to be a little bit worried about that. Don't forget to regen your health from Snatch Shield, though. Looks like they forgot. That happens. And then we're going to go May Phase 1, slam down the BLS that we knew about. Oh, we're just going to attack over both of them just to deal some damage. That's kind of interesting. Because it doesn't deal with the Reaper permanently, but I guess you know the opponent's hand, and they don't really have a lot of ways to deal with BLS at the moment, right? And you can just kind of get in for a bunch of damage. Clear out that breaker. Set a monster, pass. Now you got kind of the dueling, like, okay, if you answer breaker, can you answer my set monster, or can you answer my set monster? But then if you do that, you might not be able to answer breaker. So double threats. The ability to summon chaos and then also set a monster in the same turn is one of the reasons why chaos monsters are so good and why chaos turbo decks are so good, because this is just so much for a lot of decks to deal with a lot of the time. Where's Blood here, clinging onto the Spirit Reaper, going to set it to defense, so BLS will just have to banish it if they want to permanently deal with it next turn. Going to set a back row pass. We're going to get draw phase, Raigeki Break, discard the known Serpent to deal with the BLS, and now, without any super easy out to the Spirit Reaper, this could just stick around and wall you out for a while if you're Eli. You've got Dekoichi, though, to draw into some more stuff. We're just going to T-set pass there, trying to dig for a way to deal with this Reaper. Where's Blood here, just trying anything to kind of stabilize from this point out. Just going to set a back row pass. Going to get another Raigeki Break using the Serpent, but it hits a Serpent there. So nice play from Eli there, able to bait out a second Raigeki Break. Get a little bit of plus there, continue to apply pressure. they can deal with the Spirit Reaper, things are looking really, really bad for Were's Blood, but the fact that Reaper is unkillable in combat, right now really the only thing keeping Were's Blood in the game, for the most part. They're just going to set a monster pass. Probably should have grabbed the Serpent so that your opponent doesn't know it's not Serpent, right? But minor mistake there. Were's Blood goes for the T set, and yeah, this Reaper is just sticking around for quite a long time. We do have the knock for the new set, though, which was the Sinister Serpent that we knew about. So a good way to deal with that permanently, of course. And we've got Flip Up Magician of Faith. Probably just grab Pot, try and find some stuff to do with that. Pot draws some 2. Duo is going to wipe out their hand completely. Hits both Thunder Dragons. Might as well. Probably no other better chance to use it this game. Then we're going to get a set of monsters, set of back row pass. Still unable to deal with the Reaper, though. Were's Blood not out of it yet, but tons of cards to deal with from the side of Eli. Jara Greed's going to draw them a little bit further into their deck. We're going to get Heavy Storm, but Chain Ring, and there's an out to Spirit Reaper, and now the floodgates have opened. And then Heavy is able to clear out the Trap Dust Chute, but that's probably not going to matter too much. We're going to get a set monster pass. Eli, what are we going to do with that? We're going to go Upstart, into Summon Spy. And then Were's Blood just going to concede, saying, okay, I've seen enough. I'm down a million cards. That's fair. We're going to go to game 3 here. Were's Blood is going to get to go first here in this Chaos Server mirror match. And trying to see if they can close it out after taking game 1, but losing game 2. We're going to lead out with a Graceful Charity. The first time this has been played early this match. Let's see if they have anything good to pitch to it. They did have a Sinister Serpent and a card destruction. So interesting that you are getting rid of your card destruction when you know you have the Sinister, but maybe that you might be kind of shaking in your boots if you're Eli here. If your opponent's pitching card destruction here, because that means their hand must be pretty good. They're going to go set a monster, set a couple pass. A lot of stuff to be worried about here if you are Eli. Going to draw for turn, though. Get a Standby Phase Trap Dust Chute. A lot of good stuff here. Double Jar. Pretty good hand into Trap Dust Chute, specifically, probably. Just because you can double jar. But now they do know that you have 2 of the limited traps here, Mirror Force and Torrential. Were's Blood, you probably just take away the T-Drag here, because obviously no spells in hand for them to utilize the Faith just yet. They're going to choose the Faith, though. That is a little bit interesting, saying, okay, I'll let you thin the deck of the Thunder Dragon. I guess it's, you know, they can't really do anything with the Thunder Dragons yet either. So it is probably a close decision. And just saying, okay, I don't want you to spike a Pot of Greed off of these jars and come back into the game by getting to resolve Pot twice or something. So maybe this is more of a risk-adverse play from Were's Blood, and considering you're out to a pretty solid lead already, I can understand being a little bit more risk-adverse here. So the Faith gets spun back. Not really a lot of plays here for Eli in this case. We're just going to have to Thunder Dragon, set a bunch of stuff, and see if their jars can draw them into anything good. They're setting 2 jars and 1 real card. The question is it Torrential Tribute or is it Mirror Force? Were's Blood's going to have to kind of figure out which one to play around. They're just going to go straight for Spy. Spy in defense mode plays around Mirror Force, but Flip Up Spy obviously can trigger Torrential any day. Looks like it's not Torrential set, or they're just holding it. And now playing around Mirror Force. Were's Blood is, and that Eli's just going to take 12. So pretty good result here for Were's Blood, playing with near perfect information. They just don't know which of the 2 back row these are, but playing around it as best as they could. Eli, we've got the double jar reads here that I assume we're going to see used. And then they found a Snatch Steal as well, which is a good way to deal with spies. Steal the defense position one and then crash them. Pretty standard play, especially in the mirror. So spies are dealt with here. Eli's got a full grip of cards, a bunch of unknowns, because he just was able to resolve two Jar of Greeds. We're going to set a back row pass. So is that the one of Mirror Force or Torrential that they didn't originally play? Or is it something new? It is a Trap Dust Shoot, so it was indeed something new. They get to look at both players' hands, and they see some good stuff in there. Now, you probably wait until after they choose to grab Serpent or not to Dust Shoot, just so you know you at least have a target. So a little bit of an possible inaccuracy there. But now you have dead Sork in hand, live Sangan in hand. And you don't really have any good ways of dealing with Sangan at the moment, so you probably just put that away. It's my guess. He's going to return the Sork, though. Worried about, like, top deck Thunder Dragon or something. Fair enough. We'll see if that ends up being an issue or not. And then Whereasbud is going to be able to grab their Serpent for free and start getting in with the Sangan, right? So Eli saying, okay, Sangan will be annoying in the short term and might deal some damage to me, but I'd much rather deal with this potentially than the potential for Sork later. Not sure if that's the right call, but we'll see how it pays out. Eli's going to draw for turn. Just going to go normal summon Spy, attack over the Sangan. Interesting. They'll grab a Koichi, so normal summon Spy to kill a Sangan is not the most value you'll ever get out of a Spy, so kind of an interesting play. And they'll just be able to grab it to Koichi to continue to dig a little bit deeper into the deck here. Just confirming that it was the Koichi that they added. I'm just going to pass with this face-up Spy here. Now it makes you think, well, no. So you know this set has to be either Mirror Force or Torrential. If your Wire's Blood, it pretty much already got tested for Torrential. Because it's more likely that they would have Torrentialed your double Spy earlier. So the read is probably that it's Mirror Force. But there's a percent chance that it's Torrential, of course. Top deck Pot of Greed is quite good out of Wire's Blood into Thunder Dragon, and hey, now that turns on Chaos, so maybe if you're Eli, you're feeling vindicated for spinning back that Sork last turn. We're going to get normal summon to Koichi, the card grabbed off of the Sangan, and that, of course, beats over Spy. So Spy is going to hit the grave, having not really done too much. And Koichi stands alone here, applying some pressure to Eli. That does. So maybe it was all a bait. Spy hitting the grave, allowing them to summon out, turn on Chaos, summon out a Sork. But we've got Whereasbud has their own Torrential, and yeah, you're probably pretty happy with that. Clear out the board. Now you don't have to worry about Chaos for a little bit. I guess there is still more Thunder Dragons in hand, though, so they could always just turn on that by discarding one if they needed to. But at least you're fortunate to go neg to do that. But yeah, either way, nicely timed Torrential here from Whereasbud to deal with a pretty big play there from Eli. Let's see if they have any follow-up. It's just going to be pass. They're sitting on that back row. That's probably Mirror Force. Whereasbud just going to set a monster pass. Eli, what's your play? Another normal summon Spy. Getting a lot of mileage out of this so far this game. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're playing around the known knock, right? Which I think is fair. You see how much knock is really distorting Eli's ability to get maximum value out of their cards, though. Turns out Nobleman Crossout is a pretty good card and go for it. Either way, the normal summon Spy is going to go attack the set. It is just the Sinister Serpent, though, that we knew about from as early as turn 1. So not really too much pressure here. Serpent can just block indefinitely if your Were's Blood. I'm going to grab that Serpent back. Got Snatch Steal on the... Snatch Steal on the Spy is a little bit interesting, but it is pressure to apply. And we're just going to Tribute for Thunder Dragon to get more of a real threat on the board. That's pretty fair. You don't care about putting darks into your opponent's grave. So yeah, totally fine here. And Thunder Dragon, it's just a 1600 vanilla, but sometimes that's just kind of good in Chaos Turbo Mirrors, right? Because There's not a lot of normal summonable monsters that are actually bigger than Thunder Dragon. The only ones really are Breaker with the token, and Tribe trades with it, right? So 1600 attack is actually pretty big in this matchup. And now Eli's staring down a clock here in the form of this Thunder Dragon. They're going to upstart to dig for some potential answers, perhaps. It's going to set back row, set a monster pass, see if they get in the way. The third spy can wall out the T-Drag, but you're probably fine if it's third spy from Where's Blood, because that means they never got to actually resolve a spy all game. And this is into no Nobleman of Crossout as well, right? So makes you wonder, we're just trying to bait out the knock and then play a real set potentially. Whereas Blood just has so many cards here though that they can probably afford to use their knock and answer what else comes. Yeah, so we're gonna knock on the Sook. We also know about Minecon in hand, right? So they choose to use the knock first. Maybe figure like you're trying to bait out the Minecon and have it be kind of useless, perhaps. But whereas Blood just going for the safer option, knocking, dealing with the set monster permanently. Thunder Drag's gonna get in for 16. Set a monster pass. So there's a good chance that this other set card is Torrential, right? And that these sets are both Torrential and Mirror Force. It's probably a decent guess. And we know the hand is double Thunder Drag. Eli draws for turn. Set a monster pass. Wereblood gets to make it to main phase 1 with their set monster on the board. And we're going to go Heavy Storm to try and clear some stuff out. Okay, so it was... The first set was Torrential, and I feel like they had some opportunities to use it, but never chose to use it. And then both of their power traps that we're known about are now dealt with permanently by Where's Blood and this Heavy Storm. You do blow up your own Solemn, but if you're going to go for a play here, you know, your opponent's only at 2,400, so there's a good chance you can just go for a game shot here with Heavy clearing out the way of anything to, you know, stop you. Running at Minecon to clear out the way. It was a set to Koichi. And then, yeah, it's just going to be just saying, okay, you probably just have a game shot anyway. Let's see, did they... Yeah, Tsukiyomi plus Thunder Dragon or just Tribute Serpent for the other Thunder Dragon is enough for a game. So there you have it, 3 games to... Or a 3-game match, 2 games to 1. Where's Blood takes it over Eli T in the Turbo Mirror. I think the really defining aspect of this match was Where's Blood was just able to kind of get better use out of their Thunder Dragons the whole time. Game 1, they were able to like pitch it for stuff or, you know, catch them in with Graceful, whereas they got stuck in hand all game for Eli. And even here in Game 3, right, still stuck with double Thunder Dragon in hand, whereas Blood was able to Tribute Summon for 1 and actually apply pressure to close out the game. So pretty well played by both duelists here. Interesting match. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you next time.